Hi, I've been thinking about doing a tutorial for a while on making paper cloth. Some people call it fabric paper. It's paper or paper cloth. It's basically fabric with paper glued on top. And you can make it, and use it as a journal cover. I have these two pieces, which I thought I could stitch onto like a file folder and make a journal cover out of that. You can use it in your artwork or mixed media projects. I made some a long time ago, and I just cut out pieces and stitched them onto greeting cards. So I used to make a lot of cards. And this just, it just adds interest to see something sewn down. It doesn't have to be sewn though, you could glue it. So here's some pieces I've made. Most of these I did with tissue paper and napkins. So this one, I just stuck with a mostly black and white theme. So I used some napkins and Tim Holtz tissue, and then I added these. This is a napkin I have that has these little gold dots on it. And so, once it's dry, you can actually just tear it, just like you would fabric. This I thought, would be kind of cute in a journal as a belly band. Or these could be pockets. I would tear this in half, and there's a pocket, and there's a pocket. That could be a cover. So here's just some little scraps. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I could make little pockets out of them. A different napkin that I used. And this one I thought would make a great cover. So it's a bigger piece, and I would just actually have this as the cover, probably stitch it onto something a little bit more solid, but you could also leave it as a soft cover. And I thought this would make a cute cover. I love that napkin. It's a nice size for a cover. And this could be I thought this could be a good journal cover also. That's what I plan on doing with that one. And this was actually the first time I ever made some. First time I did it, I used glossy Mod Podge. And the thing with glossy Mod Podge is it's always going to be sticky. I did this years ago, and it still feels sticky. So don't recommend that. I am not going to use my expensive acrylic medium, matte medium. I didn't buy this, someone gave it to me, but still, I'm saving that for other stuff. So this is what I like to use. Just some cheap dollar store glue. I empty out half of a bottle and add water. So it's very thin. It takes a lot. So I've got these 3 bottles ready here. They've already been thinned down, and I'm just going to be squirting it directly on the paper. Okay, so yes, because you're going to have to saturate that paper. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. You have to start with a work surface. I prefer freezer paper, but plastic also works. You could use plastic wrap. You could use a trash bag or just a plastic bag or a piece of plastic. Freezer paper works good, and I like to work on my little portable workstation. So these are just pieces of cardboard that I've covered with freezer paper. So I have a couple of these ready to use. I like this because actually when I'm done, I can pick the whole thing up, set it someplace to dry, and actually start on another one. Okay, so the first thing you need is some fabric. I have a few pieces here. I've done paper cloth with this fabric before. It's very thin, very sheer. It has a pattern in it, but the pattern isn't too distracting. I think you can collage over that and that'd be fine. So that works good. I've used an old men's handkerchief. This is an old dish towel, which I tea stained. So that would be make a nice base. This is just a piece of cotton muslin, which was tea stained. It's a little bit wonky because like this, but you know, that's okay. I can tear that and even it off. In fact, I think that's what I'll do right now. So that it's square. So, take that strip off. Now I've got a nice, this is actually a good size to make a journal cover. So I think I will use this piece today. I'm just going to get those threads out of the way because once I start putting the glue on, they're going to get in my way. Okay, so, and yet you don't want to get, you know, too big of a piece because I'm just going to back this up a little bit because then it gets a little bit out of hand, right? Okay, let's see, how's that? There we go, it's pretty well centered. Yeah. All right, so the first thing you want to do is think about what kind of paper you want to use, because once you start putting the glue down, you're going to want to have your paper ready. And I like to use thin paper. So these are really thin book pages, and those will work great. If you have an old dictionary, those have usually pretty thin papers. Those would work good. This is a page from a mechanics manual, but it's nice thin paper. And then I also like to use some of my own painted paper. So this is very thin paper with some of my not so great jelly prints on them, because it doesn't really matter because I'm just going to be tearing them up. This is actually deli paper with a jelly print on it. So those would work. And also things like, I have a scrap box here of some tissue papers and painted papers, you know, old catalog pages, assorted, just thinner papers. I could use those. Over here I have another tray full of, here's some wrapping paper, another thin book page. Yeah, so it's just some odds and ends there. And I also, I don't know if you ever saw my bleeding tissue tutorial I did about a month or so ago. After I used the tissue to color my paper, I saved all the scraps because they're quite pretty. So I probably could use some of this too. It's nice and thin. We'll see how it fits in. So that's a possibility. Okay, so you got your paper ready and you have your cloth. So then you want to start putting the glue on. So I'm just going to get a fairly large soft brush, maybe, I want one that's not going to shed. This is a pretty soft one. It probably could be bigger, but that's okay. And you know, just like napkin collage, you don't want to brush too hard because your paper will start to tear. Okay, so I have my thin down glue. I'm just going to start putting glue on here. I want to cover the whole thing, and it will soak it up. So I'm just going to brush it on, and as I need it more, I can always squeeze out more. I could put it in a little cup, you know, little dish or something, but I find it's a lot easier to just be able to squirt it directly where I want it. It takes, as I said, it takes quite a bit to get this. And you could do it a section at a time. I like to do the whole thing and maybe add more glue as needed. Just want to square that up a little bit. Now I could see that there are a lot of areas here that haven't gotten wet yet. So I'm just going to put a little more on there. So once you let it dry, it's going to be kind of stiff, but you can actually take it in your hands and kind of scrunch it and work it a little bit, and it will soften up quite a bit. So I've actually made myself a little purse out of it once, paper cloth. Just actually more like a little cosmetic bag. Okay, so this could, I could use like all 3 of those bottles of glue. Okay, I think I've got a pretty good wet start here. So on this one, because of the darker background, because it was tea stained, I think I'm going to put, and you can put as many layers of paper on here as you want. I think I'm going to go with some more of the kind of black and white type stuff. So I'm just going to cover it up and go over it with my brush and get it nice and stuck down with no bubbles. And I like torn edges, so I'm going to do some tearing. Square edges I put in the corners. It's just the way I like it. And then if you think you need more glue, you can always squirt some more underneath. Get that nice and stuck down. And maybe I'll put in some of these dictionary pages too. You want to kind of have it on the top and on the bottom, so it's totally wrapped up in glue. So let's pick something different. This is some pattern tissue, which I think would be great on there. Kind of doesn't even show. Probably will put something else on top of that. Maybe some of this, which was just old. I don't know if it's not actually a ledger, but it's definitely some old paper. Okay. Now I wonder if I want to add a little color. Maybe just some of my playing around. This I think was some crayon resist I did. I just think it's fun to make different kinds of papers. I love variety in my papers. Okay, that's good. How about something like, I think I'm going to stick with fairly light colors on this one. Here's some tissue paper I did some stamping on. So I think I'll use a little of that. Maybe put it right here, got a little spot. Okay, how about a little more color? So maybe some of this, one of these bleeding tissue scraps. So this is going to take a while, as you can imagine, to dry. If it's a sunny day where you are, you could put it outside. Here it's raining, so I will probably just put it out in an out of the way spot and just let it dry. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna have to use some more of that, but let's put in so tissue paper from shoes I bought, which I saved that paper because I think it's kind of cool looking. So I'm going to put some of that down in this corner since it's kind of square. Oh, so I just want to mention, I now have an Etsy shop. You know, I did sell my journals at the farmer's market here where I live in Bandon, but, you know, there's not going to be any farmer's market this year, at least not the craft part. There'll probably be the produce, but I sell, you know, journals, I sell jewelry, I do a little felting, so I have those I sell. So, you know, now it's just I have all this stuff I got ready, and so I thought, well, I guess I should open an Etsy store. I've kind of not wanted to do it because I didn't really think I needed to, but now I do. And so I set it up. It was not that difficult. It took me a good chunk of an afternoon to figure it all out. Let's see, how about some more book page? Maybe some of this. Let's see, how does that best fit? Like that? Yes, I have about 5 listings in there now. Studio Art Sally is the name of my shop, if you want to check it out. And, you know, I have mentioned Jessica Rapp several times because she has been an inspiration to me. And when she started doing her show and sell, I thought, wow, that sounds like that would be really cool. I don't even care if I sell anything. It would just be fun to watch her look through my stuff. And so I emailed her, and she said, sure, send me 6 or so journals. I sent 8. And it was just so cool to watch her go through them. Let's see, I think I need some dictionary. Now, you could do as many layers as you like. Of course, the more layers you put on, the heavier and sturdier, thicker it will be. I generally do not use cardstock. I just think that's makes it too stiff. I prefer to stick with thin papers. And then you can actually add things to it. You could add paint. You could add glitter. Whatever you would like to, collage down on there. I think that would be add lots of interest. So that shoe tissue doesn't really show, so I'm going to put some more paper on top of it. And you don't have to actually cover every little tiny spot. It's okay if there's some gaps in there. So yes, I mentioned glitter. You could also add some paint. And after it's dry, you could add some stamping. Let's see, I need something here. How about this? I even thought about maybe adding like fussy cut images. That might be interesting. Okay, so there it's pretty much covered. And I could just leave it as is and use it as a background, or I could kind of build up on it a little bit. Maybe add a little bit more color. Like another piece of this. Maybe just a small one over here. Kind of balance out that. I like how that looks because the other stuff that's underneath shows through. Maybe I'll do that some more. Let's get something in a different color. It's pretty much the same. A little with this yellow somewhere. So now I'm kind of done covering it and kind of just playing with it. Let's see. Let's go back to the tissue paper. Maybe part of one of my jelly prints. That would be interesting. Sort of in there, maybe there. So anyway, yeah, Jessica did the show and sell with some of my work, and wow, I was so pleased. It came out, it was really great, really fun to watch, and helped me make some sales, and kind of got my Etsy shop going, although at the time when I was talking to her, or emailing her, I did not have an Etsy shop, so, but now I do. Okay, so just maybe need something here, something different, but with color. Yeah. Something right about here. We'll see how that blends in. It's got a little bit of metallic paint on it, which I like, gives it some sparkle. Yeah, that's nice. Now I feel like I need some more of that. So as you can see, I'm just gonna keep adding layers here until I'm happy with it. Okay. So let's see. Maybe a little something here. Oh, I keep grabbing that bottle that's closed. There, added a little color there. So once I'm satisfied with it, then I just put it someplace to dry. Feel like I need something here and maybe some more of that kind of paper. If I can find that. Yeah. How about that? Okay, I think that's good. So I'm going to set this one aside, and if you want to watch, I'll start another one. This one, so I got another piece of that cardboard. Excuse me. And I think, sorry, I think I'll use this, but it's a little too big for this board, so let me get a different piece of cardboard. How about this one? It's kind of dirty looking, but it'll work. Just barely fits. So I just love doing fun, messy things like this. I guess I just didn't get to finger paint when I was a kid, and I like making a mess with stuff. Dyeing paper, love doing that. Love experimenting with different things to color paper. Like I did some beet dyed paper yesterday with some beet cooking water that I had been keeping in the refrigerator for about a week. I figured I better use it up. And I like it, but the color is almost a little too bluish pink, too purple for me. So I feel like maybe I want to warm it up a little bit by maybe partially dipping what I did in some tea stain. See how that works. Okay, so I think that's pretty well covered. So on this one, I'm just going to go a lot more colorful. So here's some old jelly prints I did. This was actually a piece of an old newspaper that I did the jelly print on. I like that you can see the advertisements through the paper. Let's put another piece of this somewhere. And something different, like this. Yeah, this has a little bit of metallic paint on it too, and I like that. So I don't want to just do yellow and green. Let's get some more color in here. Maybe I'll just use all jelly prints. I think it'll be neat to see all these paint colors kind of together. Painted paper. Yeah, let's see. And I've got some others over here, but they're kind of purple. Take the purple, most of the purple off of this piece. Just going right up to the edge, a little bit past, because I can always trim it later. I like that. About all the colors I have in the jelly print. Let's see. Let's do something different. How about some of this? This is just some paper I was playing around with. Crayon resist. I did a little crayon. There's some crayon on here, and there's some ink. Paint. Yeah, you see the design in this fabric, actually, even if it showed through a little bit, it would be okay. But I'll probably have it all covered up before I'm done. Okay, this one's just about empty. Let's open up another one. That's kind of tight. It's like stuck, glued. I'll just switch the tops. Okay, great. Now I have glue on my fingers. Okay, so maybe some more of this. Yeah, that fits pretty well. I want to kind of cover the whole thing. I think that works. up in this corner. All right, let's see. Maybe some of this. It's not too purple. We go here. Yeah, that's good. So I can see some wrinkles here in this deli paper, but that's okay because it just kind of adds a little extra texture, as you've always heard people say that, and it's really true. Nothing wrong with a few wrinkles. Let's see. How about some of this right here? Oh, it looks like a continuation of that. I don't really like that, so I'm going to move it over someplace else. How about here? Okay, I think that's enough of that paper. Should have probably got more papers out. So kind of like this part of this design. I think that would look good. Maybe right there. Sort of laid it on top of another piece, but oh well. Oh, and another thing you could do is also add some gesso. After it's dry, you could put some gesso on here and kind of tone it down, right? Okay, I'm liking that. What else do I have over here? Maybe some more of this. And I need something in this corner here. It doesn't quite cover it all, but it's close. Maybe I'll go this way. Okay, it's getting smaller. So, got this spot over here. I'm going to tear that border off. I want to use that all. No, I think I'm going to tear it down a little bit. Yeah, that fits better. Put a little more glue on there. So there are other people who have done definitely some great tutorials on this process. I'm thinking of, I think Gail Agostinelli has been doing some, and of course I watched Diana Trout many years ago. That's who I first saw doing it. And I really thought the process was interesting, so I'm always wanting to try something like that. Something different. Well, I didn't cover up that spot, did I? Let's pick that up and move it a little bit. There. And I see a little spot there. So this is kind of a time to maybe add a few little accent pieces. Like something smaller. So I guess I used up all that blue. I really would like some more of that blue. No, I don't think I have any left. I have some of this. I'm just going to put a little piece right in here. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Adds a nice little accent. Okay, so I feel like this piece is finished. And I think there's a bubble there, so I'm going to just kind of push down on that a little bit. So I'm going to set this someplace and let it dry. Probably won't be dry until tomorrow. But when it's done, I could use this as a journal cover or a pocket or whatever. I might make a purse out of it. Okay, well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.